Well, if you've enjoyed the last couple of podcasts where we covered West Virginia and Maryland for my 50 and 50 by 50, you're in luck because this is week 3. We're going to round out this entire trip. After I left Havre de Grace, Maryland, I ended up in Virginia hunting with a guy that I met through mutual friends. Again, that's what's so special about this entire quest is I set out to go hunting, and what I really collect are great friends along the way. Today's guest, certainly no exception. This is a great guy with so many similarities from not only life, but the outdoor industry. And once again, I feel like the true trophy of this experience is the buddy I made. And I can't wait for everybody to meet him today and learn a little bit about his story. I'm Brandon Butler.
I'm Nathan Shags McLeod.
And I'm Joe Enders.
Welcome to the Drifting Outdoors podcast. Well, Joe, I'm kind of in the same boat as our listeners. I don't really know a lot about you. I know Brandon was super stoked when he came back from his experience. So why don't you give us just kind of your backstory and let us get to know you a little bit, kind of give us your origin story, if you will.
Well, I'll start. Well, I grew up in a very small town in central Pennsylvania, and I'm living in Virginia now. But my whole family grew up hunting, fishing. My grandparents, my grandmothers. I remember hunting deer with my grandmother. So we grew up in a big hunting family, and the area still. We have all school. The kids still have all school the first day of rifle season. So it's a big hunting tradition in Pennsylvania, as well as I'm sure you know that. But
I've seen the deer hunter.
Yeah. Well, I started deer hunting, and turkey hunting is my passion. I mean, I love the turkey hunt.
But that's definitely something that we've connected over for sure.
And to piggyback on what Brandon said, this industry, you can meet people. That's the best thing about it. I met my best friends through hunting, and how it brings you together. It's amazing. And then meeting Brandon, and it just, the good Lord has blessed us all. So.
Amen. Well, I want to tell kind of how we met. People that have known me for a while, I don't know a lot of strangers. I think when I meet people, we kind of start as friends, and it's got to work itself backwards from there if it goes in the wrong direction. But I reached out to a fishing store on the island you live on. So you live on, Captain Steve's Fishing Store. You live on Chincoteague Island.
Yes.
I wanted to come to Virginia to deer hunt because I was already going to be in the area, and Lauren, my wife's boss, lives in Ocean City, Maryland. Now, we could kill a couple birds with one stone if we swung through there, saw Sam and her husband, and also I could check off Virginia out there on that long peninsula along the Atlantic Ocean. So I wanted to do that, go as far east as I could go to be somewhere where the very first settlers would have killed a deer when they came to the New World. Step off the boat and holy cow, look at all these resources, look at all these riches of wildlife. And I just wanted to walk where those people walked and do what they did. So I'm looking for hunting connections. I called the game warden in the county. Help me out with the name of the county.
It's Accomack County.
Okay, and that's as much information as you're going to get on where I was deer hunting. So we were in Accomack County, and I reached out to the game warden. His name's Brian, and he was a super nice guy. He gave me some public land opportunities and talked about maybe meeting up when I get out there. And that was super generous and gracious of him. But then I was like, well, I still want to continue to dig a little deeper. So I call this fishing store and get Jimmy on the phone. And Jimmy's like, oh, man, you need to talk to Joe. So you must have a reputation if random dudes from Missouri are calling the fishing store. And I was like, I said, hey, this is a random question, but I know you're a fishing store. Are there any hunting stores around? And he's like, we got a couple calls and so on and so forth. What are you looking for? And I said, really just information. And he's, you need to talk to this guy, Joe. He knows everything about hunting. So I guess Jimmy reaches out to you and you're like, who is this Yahoo? You start reaching out to people in the hunting industry. which just lo and behold happened to be people I know who are like true legends in the turkey hunting world. Terry Rahm, true legend, a family lineage of turkey hunting legendary. Steve Hickoff, Brian Levette. So thankfully, I guess my reputation with those guys is solid enough to where they told Joe, yeah, like we know who he is, and probably, worth talking to this guy. So thank you to all those people that you reached out to. Terry, if you happen to listen to this, man, think the world of you. I hope to see you again soon. You're truly a legend in the industry, and it means so much to me that you had positive things to say. So that led Joe to calling or talking, saying, hey, give me a call. And one thing led to another. And I don't think we've stopped texting for a day yet. And that's been 3 weeks ago. So thank you, Joe, first of all, for being so gracious and representing, what I think hunting is supposed to be about, which is exactly what you said, this coming together, making friends, building traditions, sharing what it is you love with others, which then helps protect that resource. Just can't say enough about how impactful this story is for me to be able to include in my book the way a friendship can be made over an experience like this.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about helping people. And that just drew me to you. You weren't one of these guys that are just coming, I want to kill something, I want to kill something. When I did the research on you, I'm like, dude, this guy has it. He knows, what's going on, and this is somebody I want to help for sure. So thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
Thank Terry. Terry's a great guy.
I do enjoy that. Yeah, we're an outdoor podcast, but we don't want to give up any of our spots, and we're all about promoting hunting, except for where we hunt, and we're all about.
Well, we give up some spots, like hunting right around Echo Bluff in Shannon County. That's where you want to go.
Sent me, I couldn't tell you how many people, and it's the same old, same old. It's like, okay, Jimmy, it's cool down.
Well, we're gonna have to tell Jimmy to knock that off now. Now that he's done this one really, really nice, solid. So here's the wrench in the story: is I have no anticipation of doing anything besides shooting a whitetail. And I told Joe, like, look, man, it's about coming out there and meeting you, getting a local tour of where you live, trying to understand what deer hunting is like where you're at. How is it the same in Virginia along the Atlantic Ocean that it is in Missouri and it is in Oregon? But how's it different? And like, there's no trophy aspect to this. It could be a doe, it could be, whatever. And he's like, that's cool, man. But how do you feel about Sika deer? And I was like, whoa, for real? I was like, that's Maryland, right? And he's like, there may be a few somewhere in Virginia. And I said, oh, dude, tell me more, But then I've also been very aware of what happened with the Sika deer in Maryland after our buddy Ranella went up there and filmed a couple episodes. I've heard personal stories of people whose leases have been lost now, whose ability to get out after the deer has been, diminished because of how much popularity arose in these little Japanese elk that were brought over in 1920 and turned loose on the eastern seaboard. So not that we're anywhere near Meat Eater, not that we're going to do what Meat Eater did, but at the same time, like, I want to be very respectful of where Joe hunts. I want to be very respectful of all the locals that are hunting there, because it is a delicate resource. And it's not one that's being protected the way I kind of feel it should be protected. And I think we can talk about that. So, Joe, just to kind of kick it off, talk a little bit about Sika deer hunting and, how a turkey hunter from Pennsylvania is now like the most renowned Sika deer hunter, maybe in the eastern United States.
It's a lot of time. Fortunately, I have the time to do it. So the past couple of years, I got obsessed with it, and I said, I'm going to figure these little guys out because they're different. When you go hunting something that's different, for me, that's a challenge. So I was like, I'm gonna figure this out. And it took a good year to figure it out. I think I spent 48 days hunting them, and and I got pretty lucky, I'll say that. But we get to hunt them in archery, then we get muzzleloader, then we get rifle. So get a lot of time to hunt them. So I sort of figured them out pretty good. The best
And
that I know how to. I'm sure there's other people out there that have different techniques than I do and work just as well or even better. For me, I found my little niche and works well for me.
yeah,
Works well for
and
you too, I believe, Brandon.
yeah, regulation wise, they're not very protected.
No.
And I had a great conversation with the director of the Chamber of Commerce in that county and said, listen, the species is only invasive until it becomes of value. And if you think about brown trout, pheasants,
Yeah.
rainbow trout in many places in this country, none of those are native species. But nobody is like kicking them out in the ditch either. There's a ton of value to those species. Shags is ate up with brown trout fishing. And, you couldn't imagine somebody saying, just keep them all or, just keep as many as you want or whatever, because, they're such a valuable resource. Did they originate here? No, but they're here now and they have value. So let's protect them a little bit. And I told this lady, like, you're sitting on a gold mine here. I'm shooting myself in the foot, but you're sitting on a gold mine here. And she's like, well, that's the federal government and so on and so forth, or not the federal government, the state government. Sorry. And I said, well, you're a citizen and there is no more powerful title when dealing with the government than simply being a citizen. So hopefully, she heard what I said and it maybe lit a little light bulb over her head, because I do think, Shags, people that listen to us, they know that we are, pretty open. We joke about the river we no longer speak of, but we do try to tell people, in general, some good places to go. But
There's breadcrumbs. Like, it doesn't take
yeah,
a Magnum PI to figure out what we're talking about. I like the adventure aspect of it. If you want to know, there's hints in all these podcasts on what we're actually talking about, and yeah, you can figure it out.
So you can figure this one out too, but at the same time, I'm not going to hand it to you because it needs to be protected in a way, and we certainly don't want to do to Joe and his buddies what happened to those folks up in Maryland. So, with that being said, it was one of the coolest hunts I've ever been on. I had a great time in Delaware with my friend Taven when we were hunting rabbits in the marshes along the ocean. And this is very similar. It's very much a marsh hunt, and you sit and wait for them to cross an opening the way you would wait for a rabbit being chased by dogs. But if you don't have dogs, you got to go out in the brush and kick one up yourself. And Joe told me flat out, he's like, they come across the line super fast. And, I've got quite a bit of hunting experience and we hunt a lot of power line shags. And I'm like, yeah, well, that probably means they don't dilly dally. They just kind of come across. No, they zip across. And I saw two of them before I could get my gun up. I was like, okay, so this is what he's talking about. And then Joe actually had to leave to go help a guy track a whitetail, where we did go whitetail hunting the night before. And I passed a long shot up 285 yards right at dark. I said, no, I'm not comfortable with that. And so he went to help Rodney look for a doe that he had shot the night before, an older gentleman. And he said, sit here till 10, and then you can go on your wandering walkabout. And I did exactly what he said, and I went on a wandering walkabout. And I don't know if it was just the good Lord being on my side, or if once in a while you just get that lucky, but I kicked one up and I shot it. I couldn't find it right away, so I texted Joe. He's like, how's it going? So I texted him some blood drops, and he's like, I don't know if he thought I cut myself or what, but he got there in record time. And Joe actually found it about 15 yards from where I had been sitting waiting for him. So we got it, and it was a little spike. Cannot wait to eat the meat. I haven't eaten it yet, but everybody says it's phenomenal. So what a unique experience. I could hear. It was so hard to stay awake that morning because the ocean was crashing on the waves 100 yards from where I was hunting. So you're sitting there like no sleep, trying to stay awake, and it sounds like you're in one of those sound machine like rhythms, you know. You're like, oh, just nodding off, and
It's Mother Nature's lullaby, just trying to put you to sleep.
Yeah,
So
your
it
eyes
was-
were pretty heavy that morning.
yeah, it was amazing. The entire experience was amazing. Could have shot a couple more. Not could have, like, I was within 20 yards of one, didn't get a shot at it. Had another one walk out on a trail right in front of me. But man, they're not like whitetails. They're not gonna just stand there and they don't give you that 10 seconds before they figure out what's going on. They are instantaneously just gone. And they call them, you know, marsh ghosts. And man, it's a fitting deal.
Ironically, the stags will give you a shot. The other day, I shot another stag and came out right where we were sitting, Brandon, and stood there for 10 seconds looking at me till I just like, that's pretty good one. I'm going to shoot that one, and ended up shooting that one. But if it would have been a hind with a little one or something, they're gone. They don't mess around. You seen that?
And it looks like Beetlejuice took an elk and shrunk it. You know, like how Beetlejuice shrunk those heads, and they're just like miniature elk, and they actually are an elk, native to Japan, weigh about 60 pounds on average, maybe. I don't even know.
The lines will go 45 to 60 a mature one, and a mature male will go like 75 to 110 is a really big one.
Yeah. So I mean, pulling it out of there. We were 1.5 miles, 1.3 miles from the truck when I killed mine. So that we worked for it. Joe works for these. They're not easy to come by. So it was man, it was cool. And after that, I just don't know how much more I want to say. It was I want to go back. I've already talked to a few people. I've told them we'll go there. You'll be blindfolded when we hit Virginia, and I'll take it off when we get to the woods. But man, thank you again for sharing that with me, because in the long list of stories that I've put together for this, this is right at the top, without question, like right at the top.
I can only imagine Brandon opening the trunk and having like 3 or 4 buddies crawl out and like see daylight for the first time and be like, all right, here's where you're hunting. I'll be back at dark to put you back in the trunk, and we'll go to the house for the night. But Joe, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, exactly. Is this what you do full time? Do you help guide, or do you have
No, I'm retired. So I used to help guide in Florida for Osceolas. I still go down every year to the same ranch. I go just get to hunt it just because I've been there for so long. That's one of the big reasons for Terry Rahm and all those guys. We did a communicators event down there at the outfitting one year, and they all come down together. Terry and Steve Hickoff and Brian Lovett. There was quite a few people down. That was pretty neat to have.
You know, Joe, one thing about our podcast is, I think I told you, it's called Drifted Outdoors, but man, we talk about everything and anything. And you know, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you know, Shags had a stroke just a couple of years ago, like a full blown one. I mean, we've talked a ton about it on the podcast, and you have also had a neurological problem.
Yeah.
And when you told me that at first, you know, I didn't really know what that meant, but then I watched you just work so hard, and then you told me how much that took out of you, you know. And I appreciate you so much, like pushing yourself on my behalf. I really hope it didn't knock you back too much, because you had to rest up for a few days.
I spent 2 days in bed after you left. That was it. Which wasn't normal. Listen, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to go as hard as I can go until I can't go anymore.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to be. And I know when I go, I'm going to suffer, but hey, I'm breathing.
But yeah, you needed a walking stick. That was the
Yeah.
only thing that gave
Yeah,
it
the
away.
dark, the walk. Yeah, it's rough walking in the dark for me. I have to have a light. I cannot go in the woods anymore without a light,
But
or
looking at
I'll be
both
down.
of you guys right here, both of you guys have had a really scary experience with like a neurological situation like that. And like you said, you're both living your lives and moving forward. And I guess I would say I'm really proud of both of you for the way you've bounced back. So it's something you guys have in common. Another thing you guys have in common is you both love to fish. And I think it's really interesting. One of the parts of the podcast I wanted to talk about today is like ocean fishing, how similar it is and what you two both enjoy, but how Shags grew up doing it on as far west as you could go, and you're now as far east as you can go. So like, what are the similarities? What are the differences there? So I know, Joe, first of all, everybody, I have had my best seafood feast ever now, and it was at Joe's table. He made fried oysters that were self caught. You don't catch oysters, you pluck them or pick them, or
Yeah, you harvest them. Yep.
so sea bass, flounder, sheep's head, crab cakes, all bounties of the ocean from right there. So I would say you're making the most of the environment in which you find yourself. But
That's
Shags,
wanting a good wife to tell you, hey, I'm hungry. Go out and get some seafood for us. Go fishing. Go hunting. Well, who am I to argue?
yeah, Shags, maybe tell them a little bit about Clask and I and you guys.
I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. Like, if you ever seen the movie Goonies, I grew up like
Yes.
30 minutes away from where Goonies was filmed, right there in the mouth of the Columbia. We were about an hour or so in on the river, the Columbia. We didn't spend a lot of time out in the ocean because we really enjoyed just spring salmon and fall salmon fishing when they start making their runs up the river. I mean, I have one fun story. I had an uncle. His name was Tuffy, and out of Tillamook Bay, and would always go fish the bays a lot. But there was one time that we were crossing the bar and we're going to go out in the ocean. And my dad and my uncle the night before had told my brother and I was 12, my brother was probably 10, of like, hey, if you get seasick, we're not coming in. Like, we're going to catch all our limits. That is including yours and ours. So are you sure you want to go? So, of course, 12-year-old, I'm ate up with fishing. It was my life. That's all I ever wanted to do was fish. It's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And I should have known because they kept asking over and over and over again. And even the next morning before we left, now, are you sure? Because we're not coming back in until we catch our limits. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. So we go out in this tiny little boat of my uncle's. We cross the bar, and it's just big old giant rollers. And we go a couple miles out to where you can't see land anymore. And it doesn't take long for me to start getting kind of the queasy, the gurgly guts. And I look at my uncle, and he had lost a leg in a logging accident. So he's in this boat in a wheelchair and saying, like, I'm not feeling too good, Uncle Tuffy. And he goes, okay, I got something that will fix you right up. This always helps me. And he starts rummaging in this bucket in the Ziploc bag, and there's this green block that he pulls out, and he grabs the bait knife and he starts cutting off the green off this block. And about halfway through, I realize he's cutting up a block of cheese. It's a giant moldy piece of cheese that he's cutting the mold off of to then give me a good piece that's in the center. And that was it. It was all over at that point for me, of the dawning on me of what he's trying to feed me. I'm already sick. So now I'm seasick. I'm puking. I am throwing a huge 12-year-old fit, bawling hysterically, begging for them to bring us back in. Now my brother's getting sick because I'm sick. So we're puking, and Noah ended up peeing over everyone because they had one of those like hospital little handle things that you could pee into. And then, it was so rocking. He was trying to, and he's spraying pee all over my uncle, and my uncle screamed, God damn it, Larry, get control of your boys. I'm puking off the side. And man, those guys were so hardcore. They put up with us throwing our tantrums and our puke and our pee and all that. And they caught all the limits. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. They caught theirs, they caught ours, and then we finally went back in. And that was my first real lesson of the power of being seasick. Like there's no getting over it until your feet are actually on dry land. And that's when you just start feeling better. It takes a while to recover, but it was incredible to me that after that, I was like, I got no interest in going back out in the ocean. So I stayed on the inland side of the bar. And I mean, I fished the bay a lot. I fished the Columbia River a lot. But I mean, Brandon knows too. We spent a lot of time on the beach digging razor clams and doing some crabbing and that kind of stuff as well. But, you know, I haven't done a lot of actual ocean fishing just because I get so seasick.
Yeah.
I guess by ocean fishing, I meant like, you know, collecting the bounty of the sea, which
Yeah.
you guys certainly do that. Did you eat the steelhead that I left you, Joe?
What was gone? Probably
So-
before you even got to Kentucky.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle
I
Steve.
did save a small piece for my stepfather for Christmas because he loves it, and he didn't even share it with anybody.
Was that the smoked fish?
No.
Yeah, I took him.
Oh.
I didn't intentionally take it for Joe, but like once we got there and met him, I was like, it is pretty cool that I've got some Columbia River steelhead in my cooler while I'm on the Atlantic Ocean. And I gave it to Joe and said, hey, put this in the freezer, keep it, whatever. And because we had such a feast on the stuff that he broke out. It was so I thought that was neat. That fish traveled from Oregon to Missouri to Virginia before it was enjoyed.
It's like
And again,
TNT.
that's what we love about the outdoors, right? It's, you know, sharing with our friends and here's what I'm into, and you know, so I thought that was cool. So I hope Uncle Steve likes that it made it all the way out there.
I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Yeah. Joe, talk a little bit though about what you guys do. I mean, you do all kinds of fishing. You've got an awesome offshore boat. You keep upgrading boats.
Yeah,
the crabs, the oysters, the fish, all of it, man.
I'll do my crabbing early in the season before the island gets really busy with tourists, and I'll do all my blue crabbing early and get it all vacuum sealed and packed away for the winter and chiming, you know, get some pounds in the freezer, and that's what you're eating.
Oh,
And then I'm done. And then it's just like the tourists are in all the spots, and you know, you help them out too. Sometimes I'll even throw one in there if some of the tourists are having a rough time, and yeah, here's my trap. Take the crabs out of mine, you know, and like I say, that's how you meet people. If you don't talk to people, you're missing out. You're missing out some of the best people you're ever going to meet if you're not having a conversation with them.
So is that the only species of crab you guys have, or the
We have
blue?
blue crab. That's it.
Blue.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with Dungeness, so I was joking with Brandon. Like, I don't think I've ever had any other type of crab other than Dungeness crab.
you've never had snow crab?
Nope.
Like crab legs?
Oh, shit.
Mm-mm.
I ate 2 pounds of them last night. I was rummaging around in the freezer. I was rummaging around in the freezer for something to eat. We're trying to eat healthy again, right? So it's like I had to get past all the pizzas and things I wanted to eat. And it was like one of those Simpson episodes where the light shined down from heaven. There was just like a bag of crab legs in my freezer. And it was like, oh. So I sat there in front of Lauren and Annabelle and ate them all because I tried to give them some. And then I had like I had a stick of butter that I cut it in half. And I used it, and then I forgot that I used the other half. So I'm like, Lauren, what'd you do with the other half of that stick of butter? She's like, you ate it. And I'm like, no, I only ate half of it. So then I had to get like another quarter stick of butter. And she's like, you do not love me at all. Like you just ate, you know, a 2-pound bag of crab legs, which is probably only 8 ounces of meat,
Yeah.
and 10 ounces of butter.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're eating really healthy when you're just drinking butter with your crab.
Which is what crab legs are. I mean, it's just a reason to eat butter, I feel like. So
How do you cook a blue crab then? You still just
steam it.
steam it?
Just steam it. Yep. That's what most everybody here. I mean, Baltimore is big on the Maryland blue crab. That's what we have. It's big here. That is the probably number one seafood here is the blue crab.
flounder, though, is a big thing for you.
Yeah, flounder's the number one fish. It's 90% of the people that are fishing here are fishing for flounder. So they'll start fishing for them in April until we were catching. We got one on Thanksgiving. That was pretty late, but
I could eat flounder. I mean, I will say, hands down, being a guy from the Midwest, I love yellow perch. Everyone knows that. I love walleye. Ocean fish are just better. They
Yeah.
just taste better. I mean, Joe, you've come from Pennsylvania to the
Oh,
coast.
I grew up, smallmouth and trout. I grew up on the Susquehanna River,
Mm-hmm.
and it was nothing to go out there as a kid and catch 40, 50 smallies in a couple hours. It was crazy, loaded with them, and that's what we ate.
Yeah, it was
But it's
bluegill and
not
crappie for
nothing
us. And
like an ocean fish.
well, the sheep's head that you made was incredible. You fried the sheep's head and the flounder, and then you did kind of a
I did a sea bass baked,
yeah.
seared. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm getting hungry. Getting hungry
Well,
again.
I was like, what are we doing here, man? We got to
Yeah.
wrap this up quick. I need to go make myself something to eat.
Well, the only reason we got to wrap this up is to watch the Chicago Bears. Bears
Go
are coming on
Birds.
soon.
Go
so-
Birds. Go Birds.
Are the
Oh,
Eagles
boy.
playing today?
Yeah.
Where
Eagles
where are
playing.
the Eagles falling in the playoff hunt right now?
Well, we need the number 2 seed is what we're trying to get. So,
But if the Bears win today, the Bears get the number 2
Yeah.
seed.
oh,
I wouldn't mind
Sorry,
you
whoever
getting
against-
the number 2 seed because the number 2 seed's got to play the Packers. And as much as I would love for the Bears to beat the Packers twice in a year, that's dangerous territory for us. So, it wouldn't break my heart to see the Bears slip to a 3 seed and not have to play the Packers. Although Seattle beat San Francisco last night. So where's San Francisco going to fall in? Because they're 12-5.
yeah.
Seattle wrapped up the 1 seed. What's the Eagles' record right now?
They're 11-5.
Same as the Bears.
But the
That's
Bears,
interesting but the Bears beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how this is all going to
It's
shake out.
impressive.
My daughter and I were hunting last night, and she's like, "So who's going to win the Super Bowl?" And I said, "That's what's so amazing about this year is like, who knows? Like every one of those teams that's in the playoffs could do it."
Yeah, the way Seattle looked against the Niners, that defense was like, holy smokes. Good luck to anybody
yeah.
playing against them.
It's the
Right.
NFL, though. It's
Yeah, any given Sunday, right?
yeah.
Any given Sunday. But you look at the Niners, what they did against the Bears. The Bears and the Niners had that shootout last week. Just touchdown for touchdown for touchdown for touchdown. And then they scored 3 points against Seattle. That was crazy.
That's one of the
So-
downfalls of recording these so early on because this is going to come out for like 3-4 weeks, and it's going to be such old news. I was like, hey, can you believe that game last night? It's like what, the one that was a month ago?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, speaking of
I'm more into
football-
college. Yeah.
Yeah.
College football. I'm rooting
You-
for
you-
Indiana the whole way.
Oh, don't.
Oh,
that-
you're breaking
come
his heart,
on.
Joe.
I'm
Oregon
a
sucks.
Nittany guy. Well,
Joe, I'm
if
with you
Oregon wins,
100%.
I'm rooting for them.
I'm
Either
a
one
pre-
of them, whoever wins that game, I'm rooting for.
I'm a Purdue grad. I'm a native Hoosier from Indiana. So even though that's the case, being a Purdue grad, you're supposed to be against IU, of course. But I don't feel that way at all. They're the second most losingest major
Me.
college football team.
They were
They
the
were
first
the-
until this year.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were
yeah.
the worst losing program.
So
until
how
this year.
amazing would it be? I just love the story of the coach Signetti coming in there, and he's like, "I'm a winner. All I do is win."
Google me.
And Google me.
And he coached Indiana University of Pennsylvania with his first coaching job.
That's right. He's a Pennsylvania guy. He just looks like if that was your like high school girlfriend's dad, you might only go on one date and never go back. Like the guy just looks scary. He's like got the flat top. He's just all business.
Always pissed off, it looks like.
Yeah. But speaking of Big Ten, Big Ten football, Joe, you played at Michigan State. That's pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, just I mean, it still
There's a
happens.
very small percentage
Yeah.
of people that play Division I athletics. I
Well,
mean,
then I moved on to. I mean, it was. Yeah.
Was it
wasn't-
scholarship?
I wasn't that good. I wasn't that.
walk on.
It was more of a walk on.
What position?
They bring you out to recruit and strong safety.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had a couple tryouts with the Lions, so he was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough.
Yeah, downplaying this hard, man. You got
Right.
a couple of tryouts at the NFL.
I think that's what messed my head up.
Well, I was going to
Wow.
ask that if you thought some of, because I've brought that up before on this podcast. I wasn't big enough to play NCAA Division One. I played D2 basketball, but
Mhm.
I've had so many like really bad concussions, hitting my head against other people, and then hitting the ground and like being knocked out a couple of times. Multiple MRIs, like a handful of bad enough concussions that I had to go to the hospital over.
Oh yeah.
That I really worry about what's going to happen to me towards the end of my life. If I got just a bunch of gray matter in there or what, it's one of my real big concerns that I'm just full of CTE. But I mean, do you think that's what kind of happened with you?
I don't know. Like I said, the CTE stuff. You don't know about that. It's just I do have a dark spot on my brain, is what they found, but they just monitor it. But I could hear the doctors in the hallway when they were diagnosing me. First thing they ask you, how many times you're knocked out? Wow, I don't know, as many as I can remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
They probably have a case of smelling salt. They just snap it open and you go back in. But
Yeah, when we were
then,
growing up, I mean, your coach ridiculed you if you didn't get right. Get up,
yeah,
walk off
Mhm.
this field. Today they come out there, they put your hands on you, they hold you down. Like, yeah, back in the day, man, I was a middle linebacker and a fullback. The whole thing was just smashing people as hard as you could. And yeah, if you fell down, if your bell got rung, you better be on your feet. You better walk off this field. And like, whoa.
but
But
being
look
in
at
a small school, coming from a little tiny school, we had 60, I think we graduated 68, 69 kids in our class. Well, you never left the field. I thought middle linebacker, running back, punt, kick. You did everything because we had like 22 kids on the team in 4 grades.
yeah,
And that's a
that's crazy.
wild thing too, is like, even I don't even count how many times I've seen stars, and now
Yeah.
they
Oh,
consider
yeah.
those concussions too. And the initial concussion isn't what really does the damage. It's then you jiggling your brain around even more after it's been a bit concussed. So yeah, it's scary. It's funny that just the age we grew up in, that it was like that. Like it was kind of, it was looked down upon if you came out because you had a headache. And
Mhm.
now all the data is going, oh boy, that is bad news.
Hey,
Well,
we were
Joe,
10 Oscars. I mean, that's the way it was.
I
Hmm.
told you we had a former NFL player. Joe's a big Eagles fan, and I'm a big Bears fan. So Don Cherry was on the podcast a few episodes ago, and he played for both the Eagles and the Bears. And now he's studying, human canine interactions, and it really got started over his desire to learn if, you know, service dogs can help people with CTE or people with traumatic brain injuries. So I think that's pretty, it's pretty cool. There's so many, there's so many advancements in society. There's a lot of things you can always look at and say, oh, I wish it was the way it used to be, or, you know, the whole make America great again thing. But there are certainly advancements that are happening in society as well that are very positive. And our ability now to talk about mental health, to talk about brain injuries, to talk about, the unrecognizable ailments that people deal with, and being more open and aware of those, I think is something that we're witnessing happen now that, as you said, Shags, wasn't the case when we were young. So it's hopefully going to protect some people
Yeah.
in today's day and age.
And you talk about just the miracle of medicine. I mean, we got to see it firsthand with my stroke. Like it was to the point where I couldn't communicate. I couldn't talk. Brandon even noticed, was like, "Hey, you understand us, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I had another, he goes, "Do you think you could write something down?" I was like, "Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah." So he brought me a notepad and a pen. And I'm not even exaggerating, when I couldn't write anything, I couldn't get my right hand. I stood there and stared, and I couldn't get my right hand to even move over to the left to like try to draw or do anything on it. And that's when it really sunk in. I was like, oh man, I might be.
You knew what you wanted to write, though, right?
Yes, I knew it. Like that was like I was
Yes.
trapped. I was trapped in my head, and my body wasn't reacting to anything that I wanted it to do. But they got me to the hospital soon enough that they gave me the clot buster. And after that went through, it was like I was in on a Monday, not being able to move my arm over to write or draw, not being able to talk at all, could barely walk, to leaving Thursday and then them telling me I could go back to work. So just the miracle of medicine, that in itself is just mind boggling.
Absolutely. I get that with speaking sometimes. I know what I want to say. All my friends will finish my sentences. I'll get stuck. I don't have a stuttering problem. I know what I want to say. I can't say it. And
Yeah.
there's a block in my brain now.
No, and that, I mean, being a
What's that?
morning radio DJ, like I feel like I've lost a step with that too. Of like, I felt like I was more creative and funnier, and I was quicker with like little zingers or comebacks. And I mean, I'm still a smart ass. Don't get me wrong, but I don't. And people are like, oh, I can't even tell. And I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment, but I feel it too. There are times where I'll bail on like a sentence or something because I can't think of the word I want to use at that moment, and I'll try to like reroute something. And yeah, I totally get what you're talking about there.
I don't
It's
think it was the
frustrating.
stroke. I think you're just a nicer person now. I actually got a compliment at church this morning. Eric Call's dad was talking about how much change he's noticed in us on the podcast, and he said when he first started listening to the podcast, well, I was telling him to take a step back. I was telling him about the gear review and the book, and we had just gotten out of church service, and he brought up something like it's really been noticeable how much you two have changed, and we call ourselves out on this. This is no surprise. Like, we both recognize it. But he said that the first time he was telling his wife, because he had read my column in the paper for a long time, and he's like, listen to this podcast. And he's like, and boy, you guys were just dropping the F-bombs. And she's like, why would you even listen to these guys? And he's like, well, they're just some of the guys, and I told him, look, man, like, I'm very aware of that. And there's part of me that wants to take those down, that wants to go back and now like take them down. But there's another part of me that thinks that evolution, that's part of our story. And that's part of something that we can share with other people, is the fact that like guys like us can change, and hopefully for the better in a lot of people's minds and eyes. And I guess they call that growing up. It happens at different stages of life for different people, but
The scary M word, maturity.
yeah, I mean, I would say it's evident to us, but it was very nice to hear that it was evident to Bob as well. And the lady who's like, why would you even listen to those guys, is now sitting next to me at church. So I think it's just how life unfolds, man. It's nice.
Man, I mean,
So-
age will do that to you too. We're both staring down 50, so it can't be all F bombs and dick and fart jokes, even when you're
Well,
in your 50s and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm in January now, so I'll be 47 here this month, and Joe knows I've got 11 states to go and 3 years and a month to do it. So
I did hear you have a muzzleloader built for Pennsylvania.
I did, yeah. So our friend Darren Haverstick and his buddy Brian Peterson are big time traditionalists, bow hunters and flintlock guys, and they got a guy in East Tennessee, old mountain man. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but he was in his 80s. I'm hopefully still going strong. But Haverstick was like, ooh, you should just have a flintlock made. And I was like, brother, if you think I can afford to have a gun made, then I've done a good job of like fooling you, He's like, no, it's not that bad. And it ended up being like $800. And this old timer showed me the slab of wood that he carved the stock out of, and then used all these bought a new barrel, but a bunch of old components went into putting this thing together. And it hangs in my bedroom. It's the only gun that hangs in the house. I've never even fired it. But
It's a
I
piece
was
of art.
Yeah,
So you guys in late season hunting.
I want to do the flintlock season in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that it was built for that purpose. So,
Yeah, I'm
I was looking at what to do. In fact, I wasn't planning to bring this up on the podcast, but I wanted to talk to you about it. Looking at what to do this spring, and I've got Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Pennsylvania left east of the Mississippi River. So I really think I want to go to Vermont, New Hampshire and do turkeys. I was looking at it yesterday. It looks like kind of the middle of the states are where the bigger turkey kills happen. So
Yeah.
if you look at Vermont, kind of by Woodstock, that area seems to be the prime spot to turkey hunt. I don't know why yet. I'm just starting to do my research, but I was gonna pick your brain about it and see if you had any interest
Well, we
in
got
maybe
invited this
going
year to
along.
go up to Connecticut and New Hampshire. So I'm like, okay, once we're in New York, we'll just flip on over.
Are you going to New Hampshire this year?
We're supposed to be going, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Let's
So,
over. The guy I told you about.
yeah, your buddy.
Yeah, he used to be the cameraman for Walker's Game there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's where he lives is a couple miles from my cabin up in Pennsylvania. So I got to know him, and he's one of my best friends now.
Well, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole right now, but I want to
Yeah.
talk to you offline about that, because
Sure.
if there's an opportunity to get to New Hampshire and Vermont, the season runs May 1 to 31.
Yeah.
So I think a dual state turkey hunt is in probably the cards this spring, like coming up a few months from now.
Oh yeah.
So we'll talk about that, and then
Get there before you know it.
get that Pennsylvania flintlock hunt scheduled and locked in as well. So, Joe, I told you, man, Joe's one of our guests that's like, well, I need some bullet points. What are we going to be talking about? I was like, it's just a conversation. It's going to go fast.
Yeah.
And here we
Yep.
are with 10 minutes to go. We haven't talked about NWTF yet, which is a huge tie that binds us together. And we haven't talked about them horses and the very, very special place that you live yet. So which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the horses.
All right. Tell people what those horses are behind your head.
The horses, they were brought over by the Spanish and pretty much shipwrecked on the island here on Assateague Island. And every year there's a pony swim that they swim them pretty much right across from my house here. And this year was the 100th pony swim, and it pretty much supports the whole island, the fire department. So they made $1 million this year on auctioning off the ponies, and it benefits, like I said, the fire department, which does a great job here. Ponies actually up in Maryland come here to get rehabilitated through our fire company that take care of them. So it's a big touristy thing.
It's why you
don't
live
touch 'em.
there.
Don't touch them. Oh, my wife is
Your
she's
wonderful
ate up
wife,
with 'em.
Patty.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Yes.
to give a little more context, Chincoteague Island, it's the very, very northeast corner of Virginia, just below the Maryland line. It's truly an island in the Atlantic Ocean. After that island, there's another island, Assateague Island. That's where the lighthouse is. And that's a national wildlife refuge. And that's
Yes.
where these ponies live.
yes.
So people go out there and you think, well, am I going to see one? Well, they're everywhere. And
Yes, ma'am.
they're beautiful, and they're out in the marsh. They're eating aquatic vegetation. They walk right up by you. But there was a book written. I went and saw the statue on the island. Misty is
Misty and Chincoteague.
Misty of Chincoteague. And now your wife, Patty, read that book as a girl
As a
and
little
has
girl, yes.
loved the island and the horses to the point you guys moved there.
Yeah, about 15 years ago, would try and take her somewhere different every year. She goes, I want to go to Chincoteague. I've never been there, read this book, told me the whole story. I'm like, okay. Well, it reminded us of the town we grew up in. It's just a small town, a little movie theater, and this and that. And we would come down a couple times a year because it was about a 5.5 hour drive from central PA. And yeah, we decided to buy a summer home down here. And just about 4 years ago, we made it permanent.
Oh man, that's a whole nother thing that we a can of worms we haven't opened yet. Part of the reason why you made it permanent is you suffered a horrible tragedy in losing everything in a fire.
Yep.
So another thing that you and I have
Yeah.
in common, and Shags lost things in that fire too. He had mounted deer in there, and
Yeah. I lost
so
everything. And
today's what, the 4th, January 4th. Tonight at about 10:30 is the 5-year anniversary of when that fire was lit.
Yeah, you never
5
forget.
years. So it was about midnight when I was laying in bed and I got woke up, and our friend called and said the cabin's on fire. So I grabbed a couple guns, got in my truck, and drove down. I got there. I wasn't willing to go back in there because I was afraid of certain things. So I went straight to the sheriff's department. Nobody there. Couldn't find anybody. I waited till sunrise to get in there, and when I got there, there was just a few flames still flickering. Everything gone. Everything. Shags was right there by my side the whole time, cleaning it up, dealing with it. That's a story in and of itself. I didn't even scratch the surface in telling you about. But I know that we know that same feeling of devastation and all of it just being gone. But I also know, man, that your story and my story are also similar in how great life is today and how you can come back from a tragedy like that. So
Yes.
yeah, so I'm really sorry that you had to go through that and Patty had to go through that and your whole family because I understand. Very,
Whoops. That's another thing we have in common, unfortunately. For that.
yeah. But you
But-
end up on this island, and I think I talked a lot about Martha's Vineyard and Johnny Graham, who's such a great friend, and how much I surprisingly fell in love with Martha's Vineyard when I was there hunting turkeys last spring. And the way I've explained Chincoteague to people is it's kind of like the middle class version of Martha's Vineyard. The topography was very similar. The community feel of both islands was very similar. Chincoteague, we stayed at the Refuge Inn. I got to give a shout out to Arthur, the owner of the Refuge Inn. Anybody that goes out to the island wants to see the ponies, I highly recommend staying at this privately owned hotel. You know, sometimes people are quick to go to the Hampton Inn or the Marriott, which are fine, and you guys have those too. But you told me to stay at this place, and you were 100% right. It was a beautiful property, beautiful hotel, but the people were what made it special. And when we were in Maryland, I showed the gear review in the last episode of my pair of Joey Job decoys. Well, Lauren had wanted a decoy, and I was like, well, let's get this set, and you could be the girl, and I'll be the boy, and we'll have our decoys together. But then when we pulled up to the Refuge Inn, the license plate on the truck in front of the doors said decoy nut. So I went in and I'm like, who's the decoy nut? And it was Arthur, the owner. And long story short, as I got to know him over a couple of days, I asked if I could buy one of his decoys because he's a carver and a pretty well-known carver in that area. So I got a Chincoteague decoy carved by Arthur, a canvas back for Lauren, and gave it to her for Christmas, which kind of was a gift for me too because I got to keep my set of mergansers. But that being said, I'm so happy to have that. What a memory! What a memory generator every time I look at that decoy. So Lauren loves it. The whole thing was amazing. When I talked to Jimmy the first time, I've never met this guy, never talked to this guy. He's like, oh yeah, let's go to happy hour on Wednesday. There's a cornhole deal on Thursday. And I'm like, I might as well just load up and move there, man. Like everybody was so cool. But we went to Steamers, and you and Patty and me and Lauren, and we just covered the table with half price appetizers. I mean, Chags, you couldn't have got another appetizer on the table. And at the end, it was $94. Lauren's like, oh my gosh, that was only $90. And we had clams, multiple things of oysters, chicken wings, different kinds of shrimp. Like, it was phenomenal. And then we went from there next door to this world-renowned ice cream place, had ice cream. The next night, Sam, Lauren's boss, and a friend that I've known a lot longer than her and Lauren have known each other, just through the industry, and her husband came down, and we had dinner. Was it the Village?
Village.
The Village.
Yeah, the Village.
And I had a stuffed flounder fillet. It was a fried flounder fillet stuffed with a crab cake. It was unbelievable how good it was. And then you had your your place called Famous. We had it's Famous, right?
Famous pizza. Yes.
Famous Pizza. We had a pizza from there. We had subs from there. Like, dude, I'm telling you, Shags, like this island to me, it was paradise. Like the people, the food, the affordability. Guys like us aren't priced out there. You know, it's not Martha's Vineyard, which I love Martha's Vineyard. I just can't afford Martha's Vineyard. This place was like our version of Martha's Vineyard. I thought it was just beautiful. Yeah, I could rave on and on and on about it. And people go there to see the horses, which is cool and worthy, but there's so much more going on the island as well.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think there's much going on, especially this time of year. You just gotta know where to look. Just ask.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things go on. The people that think there's nothing going on in the winter, they're the people that just rather sit in their house.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's a lot of things to do.
What about golf courses?
There's a couple around here. The closest one's about 25 minutes. But
None on the island.
no.
Okay.
The island's not big enough. It's only 3 miles by 7 miles.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, not big enough for a long ball hitter like me.
oh yeah,
7 miles.
you look the long way. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
the golf
excited
courses
to be off
are
the
more
island.
up in Maryland. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I started looking at real estate, of course. I always do that when I go somewhere. And you can get a house on the island for $400,000. I mean, a nice house. And it's comparable to where we live now. There's $1 million houses too, of course. And then there's trailer parks as well. There's everything in between. But there's an opportunity for an average person to have a place there in a little paradise-like island. Now, it was paradise probably because it was December. Now, I imagine in July, like Patty said, you get around on a golf cart, it gets a little crowded, things change a little bit in the summer.
Yeah. It's the weekends are a little rough, but the weekdays aren't too bad unless you're here during the holiday.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's not bad. Like I said, we a lot of people have golf carts, and so we drive ours around the island because you can park it anywhere pretty much instead of having to worry about parking your truck somewhere.
And again, just to kind of wrap up on the island, a couple more things on the ponies. You said they sell them. So they're selling off the National Wildlife Refuge clearly can only sustain so many.
Yes.
And every year there's ponies born. Every year the cowboys come in, they round them up. They do like a drive. They get all the horses. And I mean, they're calling ponies, and I don't know why. They're normal, like they're horses. They're the size of horses. But then they drive the horses, ponies, babies, whatever. They swim them across the bay, and then X number get to remain on the island. So you keep a constant population, and then the rest gets sold. But they'll also sell the naming rights to some of them on the island. And then, the money raised, as Joe said, all benefits the fire department. So it's a really cool way to manage the resource ethically. Those ponies aren't getting sold off to a glue factory. They're getting sold off to people that are super excited to own a Chincoteague pony.
Yeah.
And then the herd continues at a I don't know if you would call it a sustainable level.
Yeah,
but
there's people out there every day that keep track. They know every name of every pony. That's all they do. So they have books every year. A new book comes out of all the ponies, the ones that, some of them that pass away, some of them, if anyone's that injured, they know immediately.
Yeah.
People watching these things all the time.
So for the history of it, look up the book Misty, the pony from Chincoteague. And yeah, if anybody's looking for a cool spot for an Eastern Seaboard vacation or a place to retire, whatever, you got to check this island out because it was amazing. It was really cool. All right, last topic, Joe. The National Wild Turkey Federation. We got on the topic of turkey hunting. Not only are you a renowned turkey hunter, you're a judge at the Grand Nationals for turkey calling. So
it's for the call making competition.
Call making competition.
Yeah, and I can't tell you what division I am judging because we're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, But you are a judge, so if anybody wants to
Yes.
send money
Yes.
or gifts to Joe, you just look him up on the island.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Don't do that to
So-
the poor guy.
No, but I've been to that.
We're always looking for new judges too. I mean, so,
We've probably been in the same room before, because I've been to that
I'm
show a
sure.
bunch. I always go in there and look at those calls. It's amazing, how you can take the basic box call, the basic pot call, and then just turn it into an absolute piece of art. There's something
guys are artists.
crazy. Yeah. It's wild. So
Like building an instrument. It's they're
now I can't go this year. I'm going to be in Denver the week. I've got a work event in Denver, but you'll be down there in WTF.
I leave the 11th.
So if anybody wants to try to meet Joe, you might be able to run into him
Sure.
at the NWTF convention. What is it about NWTF that you enjoy,
Well,
appreciate?
pretty much, I mean, when Rob Keck, I mean, he grew up teaching town over from us. He was everybody from our areas pretty much was the start of the NWT. So I grew up in an area where it's the Rom brothers, Dee Dee Adams, you name it. Bill's Aries, Cody Turkey Call, Bayshore, Pat Strasser. I mean, it's all these top guys are from within an hour drive of where I grew up. So it's in my blood. And just fortunate to grow up in the area that I was,
And you've traveled and turkey hunted quite a bit. Like, talk about some of your turkey
I've been
hunting
fortunate enough
adventures.
to take 12 slams. And I've shot them all with a bow, and I'm trying to just do with different caliber shotguns, different gauges. So 20 gauge, 12 gauge, 410. So I think my next one, I want to get a 28 gauge.
Did you say
So I
you've
just
done
got
the
my
slam
daughter
12 times?
Yeah.
Wow.
the Grand Slam, not the World,
Yeah.
right?
No, the Grand Slam.
Okay.
Have you
But
completed
still.
the World?
No, I don't. I have no desire to go down there.
Oh, you're
It's
wrong
just-
on that one, buddy.
It's
amazing down
tells
there.
Me, Steve Hickoff tells me, you got to go. And I'm
Yeah.
like, so many turkey season for me for 3 months it's so busy. And with the kids, I love taking people. It's all about, well, you shoot it. I don't want to shoot. Friends, we're arguing who's not going to hunt.
Yeah.
You shoot this one, and it's just, I love it. I love it. I love taking the kids. I'm always looking to take somebody out in youth season, and a new hunter. Women, there's a woman here on the island wants to shoot one she got a bow last year. She wants to shoot one with her recurve. Never hunted them. I'm like, well, you're trying to do one of the toughest things you can do, but she practiced all winter and everything. That's what she wants to do. So I'm going to take her out in a mentored season this year, and hopefully we can get that done for her.
That's awesome, man. A pitch though for going down there. It's just so interesting to see. When I say down there, we're talking about Mexico, and there's two places in Mexico. There's northern Mexico where you go for the Goulds. I went into Chihuahua and hunted with Manuel and Carlos Enriquez,
My name
El
Manuel.
Jacon. Yeah, I know you know them from the show, and just amazing people, wonderful guys, father-son combo, beautiful lodge. Just can't say enough about those guys. Now they're also doing oscillated hunts in the Yucatan. So if you're looking to get your World Slam, El Jacon, Manuel and Carlos, they can get you both of them. When I went I went with Bill Cooper, great friend of the podcast, Legends of the Outdoors, all that. He took me down to the Yucatan, and I got my oscillated in a little tiny dot on the map called Carlos Cano Cruz with Jorge Sensoros. Flew into Cancun, went to Merida, from Merida to Campeche, and then into the jungle. So again, it wasn't just about shooting the turkey. It was about experiencing these little towns and communities in a part of Mexico where tourists don't go. Like, you wouldn't go there if you weren't hunting a turkey. There's no point, no reason. So that's what I'm always looking for, and that's what made it so special.
Being retired, I'm limited a little bit. So if there's somebody who wants to sponsor me, I'm all for it.
Well, we might be able to work something out someday. Now, Shags has never even killed a turkey.
Nope.
So these guys, Joe, I have a bunch of friends. My
On the
uncle,
East Coast, Shags.
like these guys that are like, it's just a bird. It's it's not a deer. It's not an elk. And I'm like, man,
Yes.
different
That's my
strokes for
favorite
different
time to
folks.
start fishing. Like the water's kind of up, like trout fishing some of them streams. Like every
Yeah.
hole can hold fish now. It's not just small pockets. I like the rivers being up a little bit, and I don't know. I tried one year. I was my goal to get out there, and I hunted for them hard, and I just don't know really how to call properly, and I have a bit of ADD to where I can't sit still. So I'm sure I sound like the drunk hen at the end of the bar that won't shut up. Like I just kept yip, 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 just wouldn't let it go. And my wife now, Savannah, when we were dating, came out one time and I joked that we hadn't seen anything. And she's like, "Can I try that call?" And I was like, "Sure, let's see what happens." And she was squawking that thing, and suddenly we had buzzards swarming over the top of us. And I'm like, "Look, we called in some birds, the wrong ones, but it definitely sounded like something was dying out there."
See, what I love about it is you don't have to sit still. I mean, you do in the moment, but you don't have to sit in a blind. I mean, once you have hunted for a while, it's all about being on the move and being on the ground, and it's just a chess game, man. It's like they move here, you move there, you call them to you, they call a hen will call a gobbler off of you. I mean, there's just so much going on. It's like
and every
being
state different with the
chessboard.
terrain and the topography and everything. You got to hunt them different in different areas.
Yeah. So
And I hate ticks. Like I already have Crohn's, I already have an autoimmune disease, and with the alpha gal and stuff that's skyrocketing through mid Missouri, like the last thing I need is to get a tick bite and not be able to have steak anymore. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, I douse myself with the spray.
Yeah. Which we got to get you some mailed out, man. Lauren and I
want 55-gallon drum of that.
No, we don't have that much, but we can mail you a few of them. So well, Joe, again, man, just an unbelievable experience, so unexpected, so grateful. Anything that you wanted to talk about on the podcast that we didn't cover yet? Any shout outs for the island or any people that I forgot to mention?
Oh, the island is, I mean, it's a wonderful place to be. Like I said, we're here, and most people are so friendly and helpful. They, a guy like me coming down fishing the ocean and not really know what I was doing, everybody was so helpful and teaching me, and it's great. Great that everybody sharing their spots, and it's pretty much, there's no, hey, I got this and you didn't here. It's everybody's genuinely happy when you get something.
Yeah, I guess I would say the only downfall is the hours and hours you have to drive away from the island to find the Sika deer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's cross country.
Not even in the same state. I don't know what this podcast is about.
I don't know why that Virginia tag worked up there in Maryland, but
oh, all right. But before we get you out of here, Joe, we like to wrap up all the podcasts with what we call the mystery bait bucket. So what you see here in front of you is an actual antique bait bucket that Brandon and I bought before we even started the podcast, Midway Antique Mall, shout out. And it's full of questions submitted by you, listeners, fans, family members, whoever. And sometimes it has to do with the outdoors. Sometimes it doesn't. It's just a fun way to wrap up a podcast. And if you have a question that you would like us to answer, you can email us, info@driftwoodoutdoors.com. You can also send us a direct message through Facebook or Instagram, Driftwood Outdoors, or leave a comment on our YouTube channel, Driftwood Outdoors TV. This one comes from Lindsay Foss, asks, what's the celebration restaurant your family ate at when you were a child that you didn't realize was not, in fact, a 5-star establishment until you became an adult?
that's an easy one for me. What's that?
I said, yeah, I'm with you. One popped in my head right away. So go ahead, Brandon. What's yours?
Well, mine's Tony's Pizza. You've sat in the booth here in my garage. When Tony's went out of business in Valparaiso, Indiana, I bought up some of the furniture because that's how much that place meant to me. our whole family history. My parents went on their first date there in the late 60s, and every wedding rehearsal after funerals. I mean, that's just where we went. That was our spot. I feel so lost without it. There's a number of restaurants here that I enjoy. My daughter works at Lafayette's in Fayette. That's great. But I don't have that one restaurant. You know, Murray's is really good in Columbia, CC's, but I'm without that one restaurant because Tony's went out of business. And so if you're out there, I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you. But it was Tony's Pizza for the longest time, Valpo, Indiana.
For us growing up, it was Sizzlers, and I don't know how far. Did they make them out here? I don't see them in the Midwest, and I don't know how far.
They used to. They used to be.
Yeah, and
Sizzlers in Ponderosa. You'd go to those two.
Ponderosa. Yeah.
You don't see them as much now, even on the Oregon coast. But Sizzlers, and I didn't even realize it was like a steak restaurant because we didn't get anything off the menu. You were just there for the all-you-could-eat salad bar, and that was the big celebration. That was like my parents splurging. Like we got to go to Sizzler if you got good grades or you won a championship or you played really well in sports or something. Like to the point where I lost my father last year, and I was bringing his truck back here to Missouri, and we stopped in Twin Falls, Idaho to stay the night. And there was a Sizzler next to the hotel. And I was like, holy smokes, I haven't been in a Sizzler in years. So Savannah and I, in honor, went in there and had just a salad bar. And it just brought back so many memories of just like, it's such a small place to go in when you're a kid. You thought it was this massive restaurant. Like, oh my God, we're going to Sizzler. As an adult, I found myself kind of giggling in the booth going, boy, this is just nonsense. But it brought up a lot. It brought up a lot of fun memories. How about you, Joe? You got one?
Oh, Howard Johnson.
Is that an East Coast thing? I don't even. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. There was. Yep. We'd go to Howard Johnson, and it was basically a restaurant and a hotel room.
I knew they were a hotel. I didn't know they had food.
Yeah, they had a little restaurant in there, so that was a big thing.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, we got what's the final thought, the final cast of the pod?
Yeah, man. Just again, I'll just keep hammering the same theme here. But Joe, thank you so much for showing me that there are still people like you out there who are willing to take a stranger under their wings, take some guy you'd never heard of 2 weeks prior and make them a friend, have me over to your home, invite my wife into your home, introduce us to your wife, cook us a meal, take us hunting. I mean, my God, man, you just rolled out the red carpet, and I'm so thankful and grateful. It was an amazing experience. I mean, truly one of the best that I've had across the country. I hope you and Patty will make your way to Missouri someday. We'd love to have you. I sent you a video of 4 long beards that haven't figured out their long beards yet. They still running around, jumping on each other like they're Jake. So we've got some turkeys here. Would just love to have the opportunity to reciprocate. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
You're welcome. I really enjoyed the time we spent together, and like I said, this, the hunting industry and the fishing industry been so good to me, and just very thankful that we have met, and I'm sure we'll be lifelong friends.
Absolutely.
Great way to end it, man. Appreciate you jumping on here. Gear review coming up next. Into the podcast, the beginning of a gear review. Brandon, what are you reviewing for us today?
Well, Shags, have you ever found yourself in one of those situations where you don't know if it was like a gift or kind of a very passive way of saying that you could do better? I got a package in the mail from Uncle Steve. Very, very generous of him. Sent me some knives. And I'm pretty sure this is because my knives must have sucked. Uncle Steve was taking apart some deer for us in the barn, and now he doesn't have to travel with his knives. So we're just teasing you, Uncle Steve. Thank you very much for a wonderful gift. He did tell me, he's like, just leave them out there in the barn and we'll cut deer up. These came from Oregon. I've never heard of the brand before, but they're Dynamics. And I can promise you that if they are Uncle Steve approved, these must be really good knives. So if you've got a real serious hunter coming to your house and you don't want to embarrass yourself by not having good enough knives, you might want to look into some Dynamics.
Well, I don't know what that says about my house because as a thank you, he sent me new towels.
Oh, we got towels too, man. We got towels too.
We got my pillow, my towels. I didn't even know Mike Liddell was doing towels, but apparently he is. And God bless him, man. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate
Yes.
the gift. But this box of my pillow, my towels just showed up, and Savannah and I were like, "What's going on here?" And we were
No note, nothing.
No. I thought there was a note at the bottom, but it wasn't. It was a Bible verse. It's Mike Liddell. He's very religious. Smoking crack, finding God, got himself clean. Great story.
Yes.
But yeah, we were trying to giggle. Like, and Brandon and I were even talking about it too. I was like, was this for the podcast? Does Mike Liddell listen to the podcast? And then finally, my uncle sends me a random text like 3 weeks later, just going, "Yeah, did some guy named Mike send you some towels in the mail?" I was like, "Was that you?"
Yeah.
It was just a thank because he's just so appreciative of everything we do to have him out here in deer hunt. But it just made me. And I was racking my freaking brain for weeks trying to figure out who the hell sent me my pillow towels.
Yeah, I got Lauren and I opened up our box and we're like, well, these are very nice, but Lauren's like, well, maybe if I take the order number, I can retrace it to find. I was like, babe, let's just be grateful that we got them. But I thought it was some kind of promotion, like somehow you and I were on a list of media people, or Mike Liddell got our names somehow. But I guess we're not that important. And Uncle Steve has his own knives to use and his own towels to use when he yeah, just send money from now on, bud. If you just put money in the bank account.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. That was fun. So on the Uncle Steve topic, I don't know if we've publicly said anything about this yet, though. And I wasn't going to because I didn't know how much of a surprise it would be. But you told me that you've already brought it up to him. That if you've listened to the podcast, Uncle Steve has said that his dream hunt is going to Kodiak Island in Alaska to get blacktails up there. You know, he's a blacktail hunter. He's one of the best on the Oregon coast, and you know he's in his early 70s. So it was your idea, which is super cool, to say to me, hey, why don't we work on putting this together for him? And we are. And your brother Noah's jumped in. Derek, who people know, unpaid pro staffer. When are we going to get Noah to join the unpaid pro staff?
Never.
Yeah. So Derek, and then I went to my uncle and I was like, hey, it's kind of cool that Shags' uncle likes to hang out with me, but what about my uncle? Like the one that actually got me hunting when I was a kid, you know? So him and Uncle Steve are the same age. So my Uncle Tom is considering it. So Uncle Tom, Uncle Steve, Derek, Noah, you, me, Lauren, we've started talking about. Yeah, Eric Call today said that he's very serious about it. I threw it out to Voight. He's considering it. So I really think we're going to be able to roll into Alaska with about a dozen people.
The trip sounds awesome. You stay like on a crabbing boat and you fish and you crab, and then they drop you off in the morning and you hunt, and then you come back and you fish and you crab and you eat on the boat. Like that's supposed to be 2027, baby. End of the year of 2027.
Yeah, and the season's long. It's from like August 1st to December 31st. But everything that I've read and watched so far, the rut happens late November into early December, and then the snow comes in and pushes them out of the high country, which I'm not looking to hike any mountains. And we know that, you know, our uncles probably can't get to the top of those big mountains. So looking like, you know, late November, early December. So if anybody out there listening has any experience with Kodiak blacktails up in Alaska, man, shoot us a message. Or if you know an outfitter that we should look into, shoot us a message, because we're looking for some help. We're looking for our Joe of Kodiak Island.
Well, with that, Joe, what's your gear review? I saw you digging
I
around one of your turkey bags earlier.
Yeah, I have Scott Bayshore custom box you can get. He's very limited on ordering these. He only does a couple a year now. But if you want one of the best box grills you're going to get, try and get a Bayshore if you're lucky enough to even get on the list. The other one, Pat Strasser. That's a little.
Guy knows
Yeah.
what he's doing.
My calls never sounded like that.
Show,
Yeah,
can
they
you lift
pretty
up
much
your
run themselves.
can
What's
you
that?
lift up your call bag?
Which
at
one?
this,
I'll
guys.
have a few.
Like he's got call bags like we got tackle bags.
Yeah.
Like,
Shout
they're
out
all
to old
organized.
Tom. And then there's a bunch of I have a couple of them. Old Tom. And they all open up. Of course, they have all kinds of calls in them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
There's they open up really nice. They're really nice bags. So it's nice when you're traveling with them. They're protected.
All right, man. Well, thank you again. Give my best to Patty. I'm glad to see your guys' Christmas stuff is still up. Patty was all about the Christmas stuff. It was awesome coming over to your house. We got to start taking ours down too. But yeah, just again, man, so grateful that you and people like you keep coming into my life. This is amazing.
Well, you guys have a blessed day. Thank you for having me on.
We'll see you down the trail.